Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast. Join your host, Nicole Cox, as she dives into the real stories, tips, secrets, and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside the trade world. Nick is here to help you break free from the grind, reduce money stress, and build a trade business that truly works for you. So grab a brew, put your phone on silent, and get ready to be inspired.
Hello, listeners. We have a tradie for you today, a real tradie, and one of our wonderful clients, Tyson from My Mobile Mechanic. Thank you so much for being here.
No problems at all. My pleasure.
This is round 2 for us, Tyson. We ran into a bit of difficulty last time when we were trying to record this. We had trouble with internet. We had trouble with cameras. We had trouble with sound. We really had the trifecta of trouble to try and fix. But here we are today. You're clear. You're concise. I could write it. We did make it. We pushed through all the hard stuff. Tyson, do you want to tell us a little bit about your business for those that are listening to the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So, currently we have a business located in Caloundra on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and we have a workshop there, which has 3 hoists and an office and waiting area. We have 3 mechanics full time and 2 guys in the office. One guy dealing with customers mainly, and the other person is a service advisor, so dealing between customers and the workshop as well. And then my role currently is just the glue that holds it all together in the middle. But that's how it sits at the moment. Yeah.
It certainly evolved and changed over the time we've been working together. So, listeners, Tyson is another one of our wonderful tradiepreneurs who's here to share his journey today. And Tyson and his lovely wife, Rachel, started working with us quite early on in their journey. So we've seen a real big transition for you. Can you tell us, Tyson, a bit about, maybe take us back to when you started working with Tradies in Business and what business looked like then?
Yeah, 100%. So, from the beginning, we actually purchased the business of My Mobile Mechanic. Probably 18 months or 2 years prior to that, I had made up my mind that I would like to go into business and do something. I looked at the potential of starting a business and or even purchasing back then. However, that was smack bang or just even at the start of COVID, so it was not great timing. Nothing really worked out, so we kind of just left it for a little bit, and then through opportunity and knowing the right people at the right time, the business became available, and I got to meet the owner, and he was ready to get out. I was ready to get in, and it was just a perfect transition. So I took over a business that was had been running for 10 years, and it was started by the previous owner, and he'd just slowly built it up over that time. Obviously, only enough work for one person, but what it meant for me was that it was cash flow from day one. I was able to already have the phone ringing and customers coming through the door. So it made it kind of easy because I missed out on that step of trying to build something from nothing.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's you pay for that, but in retrospect, I think it definitely worked out really well, and it's something that, I would advise people to even look at options like that any day, just in case the right thing is there at the right time. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Tyson, often when we're purchasing a business, we're kind of taking on the dirty laundry as well as the clean laundry, and there's that transition period where we get stuck into the business and we think, okay, that's not the way I want this to go, or that's not the way I want that to go. Truth of the matter is, we inherently go through that process as a business owner because in the beginning we do what we know, and eventually we learn different, and then we change it anyway. But in your case, thinking about purchasing a business that was already established with a client base that was set up, and I guess almost a pathway that you needed to follow just to ensure that they stayed on with you. Did you find that challenging in the beginning, or was it actually easier for you because you could follow the bouncing ball?
So it's interesting looking back because obviously every business has systems, no matter what they look like. And so obviously when you purchase a business, you're taking on their systems. And we we've changed a lot of things where we are now. However, as I said before, it was a start. And yes, there's probably, I would say, 3/4 maybe of that original client base are not currently our clients. And that's not the way I thought it would end up. But I don't mind now because we've worked through and we've realized that those original clients were not our perfect fit. And so we've sort of adapted and changed the business to now have a different style of client. And we've got rid of the original client, which was probably more of a budget or a low dollar client. Nice enough people. Some of them wanted everything for nothing. And so unfortunately you can't please everyone. And as we have worked with you guys and learned how to change our business, it's worked well for us.
Tyson, if you think back to the beginning, and it's a little while now, so it might be really hard to remember, but can you think of some of the challenges that motivated you to put your hand up and say, okay, we need some help with this?
Yeah, so definitely. We joined TIB like I think 6 months after or 5 months. No, 6 months after purchasing the business. So when I first took over the business, it was like, this is great. I can work, I get paid, I can go home whenever I want, my hours or whatever. And then it just dawned on me that it's like, okay, when I'm not working, I'm not making any money. So it's like, I need to get someone else to work for me. How do I do that? So it was through the thought of potentially hiring someone to help out from an income perspective to allow time available for myself. And that's what got the ball rolling. Was like I'd already been listening to the podcast and I was like, I know I need help with this. I know lots of other people in business, but not necessarily that you trust people with that information because that's only their experience. I think it's good to talk to people, but coming to you guys that this is exactly what you do every day of the week. It was, that was a good place to start and we're still here.
Thank goodness for me. I very much enjoy your company. Tyson, when I think back to it and I'm thinking about, from a listener's perspective or somebody that might be thinking about getting some help, whether it's with TIB or somebody else, it can be a little confronting to feel like, I'll go back to the laundry analogy. You feel as though you've got to air your dirty laundry when you come into speaking with a coach or speaking with a business mentor that can help you with direction. Is that actually as uncomfortable as it sounds?
Depends on the person. Obviously, vulnerability is a very important thing that to grow as a person, you need to learn to be vulnerable in different circumstances. And I think it's the only way that you can actually receive help is when you let your guard down and be the one that says, hey, I need some help with this. What do you think? And yeah, that's sort of how it goes. And being able to, when someone else knows where you're at and what you're going through, they may have been through it before themselves, or at least they can be a sounding board, give some ideas and help you sort of work through whatever it is. So, yeah.
Totally agree. Look, I feel like being vulnerable is the best skill you can attain in life, and yet it's very challenging to do so. You kind of got to dip your toe in the water. But look at us today. You're talking on the podcast. You're sharing all of this stuff. You're being very vulnerable with a whole bunch of strangers that have never met you before. It's amazing. Okay, thinking about running a business, Tyson, it can be quite isolating at times. It can be quite lonely. And you referenced before that some other business owners, but you don't necessarily share with them. Some of you do, some of them you do, and some of them you don't. How has being part of a community changed that feeling of isolation for you?
I would say having a group of people that are the same, so that they too have had to learn to become vulnerable and to learn that they needed help at some stage. And so as they progress and grow, they can then turn that into, oh, maybe I can help someone else. And I guess that's probably where I am at the moment. I love being able to, you know, give advice where needed to other people that might be in a similar position. Not to, make them feel uncomfortable, but obviously if they want to learn. Yeah, and I think just having that group of people that are all having the same goals per se, whether it's financial freedom, time freedom, whatever it is, you're all working towards similar things and have similar morals and attitude towards how business can help you achieve those things in your life.
Yeah, I love that. Tyson, do you find that the same sort of ethics then show up for you with your team? Now that you've got a team, what have you got? There's 4 of you, 5 is that you're leading. So do you find that the same sort of stuff then shows up for the way you're working with the team that you have?
So I would say vulnerability is one of those things in a roundabout way where I've had to learn um, from a leadership perspective to be vulnerable, to have those difficult conversations where necessary instead of avoiding them. And those sort of things can bring respect from the other employees, not from a perspective of I'm the boss and you do what I say, but that we respect each other. And I think even just having that frequent communication that's not just about whatever's happening on the job in the day, but we set aside time to talk about what's happening, say, outside of work, mental health, what goals are you working on personally, those kind of things. That probably makes my team members feel valued from a different perspective of I just come to do my job and get paid. And the thing is, we do value our employees because honestly, you don't have a business without them. And so because of that, we try and reward them and try and, stay on the same page with them at all times. And yeah.
Is it something you're looking for then when you employ people, Tyson? Are you looking for, I guess, a match in personality with your team members so that you all have that some of that commonality as you come in? Or is it something that you feel like you create in your workspace?
That's an interesting one because when we have hired previously, from our experiences, the best hiring that we've done has been when we've hired people that have the right attitude and that willingness to learn and to grow, especially as a startup or a smaller business. The business is constantly adapting and changing. It's not like it's already set up and you just got to follow the systems. We're actually still creating all of our systems. And so when someone has that attitude of, oh yeah, we can, maybe do it this way or, keenness to learn and evolve is very helpful. What I'm starting to see now, obviously it's hard to actually hire everyone to be exactly the same, but I've found out that you don't actually want that. You do still want some diversity in your team because if everyone is the same, then you can have some personalities clashing. And so, yeah, at the moment we've got it pretty good and a good team, but I've just got to be a little bit careful, I think, with the next hires that we would have that they would actually add value into the current team rather than
Mm.
they might seem like a good fit to start with, but if they are going to clash with other people, then it's, difficult. But yeah,
Is that something you had experience in, not the hiring part, but the management of people and personalities? Was that an area you were experienced in before you started doing it for yourself?
definitely not. I've probably always been an extrovert. That's about the only experience I've got, which is somewhat helpful. But I mean, a lot of it's just learning as you go. And yeah, once you've done something once or twice, it becomes easy, second nature. And yeah, I quite enjoy a challenge. I quite like the leadership side of things because I'm a people person. I like to know that everyone, not, I wouldn't say I'm a people pleaser, but I do like people being pleased. So, and that includes everyone, right from the directors of the company to the employees to the customers. So, yeah, if there's a kink in the chain somewhere that needs to be ironed out, I'm happy to have that conversation. Yeah.
I think for me, in your leadership is where vulnerability really shows up. You do a really good job of leading by example. And you don't just do it with your team. I observe you doing it frequently within our community as well, which I think it's a superpower. And I believe, Tyson, it's not something you've learned. It's something that's either been demonstrated to you and then you've followed suit, or is just within you. I think for me, watching and observing you, that's why it works so well for you with your team. And of course, it's not without struggle. We all occasionally employ the wrong person that doesn't quite fit within the team, and we some of them you can retrain, and sometimes you have to let them go, but you're not shy of either of those conversations. Thinking about your mindset in business, Tyson, is there like a key learning or a shift or a takeaway that you've had that you feel really significantly changed the way the business or the direction the business was heading in, or the way you were running the business?
That's an interesting question. Um, One thing comes to mind is I think in a book I was reading over the last 6 months, there's a part in it that spoke about failing fast and that failing fast allows growth. And I guess in hindsight, that's probably one of the ways that we've done things in our business is not being scared in a way to jump into things that might be a little less calculated, and we fail, things go wrong, and moving people, allowing things in our business to happen that could have been avoided, but because they happen, because those events happen, they triggered the ability to change
Mm.
because we learned from it. And that's probably something that I'm not scared of. And even I teach my boys that as well. I say, don't be scared to break the bolt because you're going to learn something. You're going to learn that you did it wrong and to probably not do that thing again. But also you're going to learn how to get a broken bolt out.
She's
So,
not an easy task.
yes, but it makes it easy the next time that they break something. And so like it makes them better mechanics, but essentially anyone in your team makes them better people because of being able to push through and build that resilience up. Yeah.
Tyson, you mentioned change. Change isn't easy, and some of us adapt better than others. But thinking back over your time in business, what's something that you resisted doing or changing at first that actually has gone on to make a really big difference when you did accept that it needed to change?
Um, I would say changing the mindset of I should do it, but because I can do it better, and I still struggle with that. Don't worry. Um, whether it's on the tools or whether it's in the office, talking to customers on the phone, dealing with difficult conversations, whatever aspect of it that it is, I have to fight that urge to jump in and just fix it. And I probably now try and use those instances for training. Like I said before, it's that failure point that we can train and then build on. So yeah, that's been one of the things that I've had to constantly fight against is not jumping in where I feel is necessary.
It's a hard one, I agree. Tyson, what does a typical day look like now? So when you first jumped on board with us, you were doing all of the things. You were the only mechanic, you were the owner of the business. You had a lovely, well, you still have a lovely wife. Your lovely wife, Rach, was helping out. And you kind of, it was just that really typical technician on the tools kind of pathway. Now it looks really different. Can you talk to us about what a typical day looks like now?
Yeah. Okay. So now I don't really do any customer communication unless there's a special reason for me to talk to someone. Some of the customers are still like, "Oh, I want to talk to Tyson," but pretty rare. Some people even think that they don't know who I am. They're like,
That's
"Oh,
fantastic.
who are you? Are you just a mechanic?" Not that I care. I think it's funny. But yeah, so for me, generally if I come in to the workshop, start of the day with the other guys, um, everyone sort of is getting to know what's happening and making the plan for the day and goes to their allocated jobs, whether it's mobile or workshop. All of the parts and stuff are generally already organized from the day before. Um, the mornings, yeah, it depends on what's scheduled. Like I can still be on the tools a little bit at the moment, doing a few jobs here and there, but generally it's not jam packed with job after job. It's actually, maybe one job first up and then a little bit of time, maybe a what we call toolbox talk which is a one-on-one meeting with each employee or a team meeting every fortnight. We do quarterly reviews as well, so that when you got 5 staff, that comes up fairly frequent. Um, and then, yeah, so the morning can be a couple of jobs here and there, always sort of running around and checking on what's going on, how things are going. I'm always available to the technicians for any technical advice, whether it's in person or if they're out on a job, they can ring me and I'll run through anything with them.
Mhm.
So I guess, yeah, a lot of training. Still, lunchtime, I don't even know what that is. Just sit down and eat something. And then of an afternoon, yeah, essentially it's more of the same. I'm actually still trying to find my new structure since having Alex in the office.
Yep.
Because I was doing a lot more in the administration side of things, whereas that's now sort of been taken over. So I'm still trying to find my feet in my new role, but a lot of it is training, technical advice, and then some of the really difficult jobs I'll still do or at least have input in, um, just for safety that the younger technicians may not have done them things before. But very flexible, I would say. So today I arrived at work at 10 o'clock because I had stuff I needed to do at home in the morning. And then I had one job scheduled, which I just fit in. I helped the boys out a little bit and I left at 3 o'clock to come home. So there's a lot of flexibility now, which is awesome. So just trying to keep that will be good.
Extremely important with 2 little kids.
Definitely.
So thinking about the business and the journey that you've had so far, what's the thing you think you're proudest of?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't really like pride.
Uh, Question I have for you, Dyson.
That is a challenging question. Maybe proud for my family and for my wife that we've been able to generate something that has flexibility for our children's sake. That was one of our biggest things going into business. My biggest reasons or my biggest why was just to have time with my children. This is way before we had kids. And yeah, seeing that happen and being able to drop Addie to daycare and pick her up of an afternoon is just, yeah, for me, that's what it's all about. That's the reason why I'm happy to hire someone and pay someone wages so that I can do that. So
Mm. Yeah, the freedom's really important. And as you referenced earlier, freedom for everybody is a little different. Some of us, freedom looks like finishing work at 5 p.m. consistently. Others want to be there to pick the kids up from school or daycare every day. Some of us want to have a long weekend every month. Like freedom can look really different for everybody. And it's about finding and creating something that helps you with your version of freedom. You're certainly nailing that at the moment. I was going to ask you about the impact it's had on your family life and your stress levels, but I think that you've just answered that already because you do have that flexibility. You're able to be there for your family. And I think it should be said that you do have two really young girls. They're just babies still. And so you guys have really bitten off a lot and chewed really hard over the last few years to pull together this business in a way that you can create that flexibility already. And I think no, I won't. I won't guess. I'll ask you, Tyson. What is it that you feel has contributed the most to you being able to create your version of freedom so quickly? Because it's quite rare to do it as fast as you have.
well, wouldn't be without saying the help of my wife.
Mm.
She's been amazing behind the scenes. Obviously, for a time there, she had her own job, and then even while on maternity leave, I'd definitely say hard work and dedication to those on the business goals. And
Yes.
don't get me wrong, I've got some flexibility in my day now, but we still do stuff overnight time, just a little bit here and there.
Mm.
A lot of it now is on the business, but back in the years prior, it's been let's finish invoicing, and then if we get half an hour, we'll just do some marketing or do something preparing for a quarterly review or something about hiring, whatever it was about just probably that hard work and staying up late for that time period. And I guess knowing before we had children how difficult it would be when we had kids,
Yeah.
not that I knew, but assuming, um, I was happy to put in that work then. And yeah, I'm definitely glad that we did back then because it's a lot harder to do now.
Oh yeah. It's the discipline for me, Tyson. If I had one word to explain, I don't know which one I'd use actually. If I had to find one word for you, I don't know whether it'd be something around leadership or discipline, but perhaps I could be really crafty and come up with a new word that explains both. That's my firm belief, and it's your discipline to what you do that has created the outcome as quickly as possible for you guys. It's been such a big, strong focus for you. Um, You're really open to getting help really early on, and I wonder if you have any words of advice for somebody who's not quite sure about whether they should be getting help or not.
Okay. So I guess what I would say to someone in that position was look at your why. So look at your big goal and what you want to achieve out of it. Like why did you get into business in the start or why are you even thinking about going into business? Because if it's for short-term financial gain, it's definitely not going to happen. No matter what the business, you're going to have 5 years and you'll be much better off on wages. But um if it's about, say, building something that allows that time freedom or eventually that financial freedom, you need to have that goal, stick to it, and then you need to just find the help to actually stay on that right pathway to achieve it.
Love it. Where to for you from here, Tyson? Like, obviously, I'm privy to some of the stuff that's going on in the background, but what can you share with us about, you've taken this business that was a man in a van, essentially, and you've turned it into something that has created a workshop and a mobile mechanic, and there's some more exciting things coming. What's happening next?
Well, it's hard to know because business evolves almost by itself. But Yeah, it's actually a difficult question that because how far forward in the future do you look? I mean, obviously sticking to that original why of that time freedom, a little bit of financial freedom would be helpful along the way. But essentially it's that time freedom. We want to make decisions that will support that. Um, so depending what the right thing is, I mean, I've always had in my head that we would probably keep hiring um, and growing the business up until essentially 15 staff overall. That's just accountant's advice for tax purposes, but that sort of small to medium business where everyone knows everyone,
Yeah.
everyone can get along with everyone. There's enough people in there that if one person's sick, it doesn't even, make a difference at all. Currently, with 5 people, someone can be sick, but it's kind of like you just build just enough people where you got multiple people in each team that if people are away on holidays or whatever, the business still operates as usual.
Mm.
Um, so that's probably long-term goal. How we'll achieve that depends on what opportunities become available, and yeah, things can change. But I guess sticking to our why is probably what we'll do for the future.
Tyson, could you have seen this much growth this quickly when you first started out in business?
I don't know. I guess I always, right from that moment that we went, oh, we need some help with TIB or some support around how to hire someone. I've always found it like we just need to hire the next person, or what's the next thing that needs attention? Is it
Mm.
okay? Now we've got enough mechanics, but we need more work to support them. Then we get more work, and then we need more mechanics, but then we need more vans, and then more space, and it's a big snowball effect. And
Mm.
I don't mind chasing that snowball, but um, yeah, I always did want to grow it. I didn't probably expect it to grow so fast. Um, but it's just come down to knowing or getting the support to know what steps to take next. And say, use hiring for an example, knowing that when we would hire someone, it was probably going to take 2 months, 3 months even to find that right person, meant that we put the ad out well before we needed someone. And then we did that again and again. And so it was actually on our terms, not so much reactive and going, oh, I need someone now, and then having to wait 3 months. So yeah.
Good advice. Tyson, as you were talking through that, I was just remembering how you show up on social media and how proud I am of that. Um, Tell us a bit about your social media journey. You've gone from doing nothing to now you have quite a presence. Can you talk us through it a little bit?
It's kind of hit and miss a little bit, I would say. Um, Look, vulnerability, I guess, being willing to get in front of the camera and do something and say something. Um, Definitely need some more work in that space, and that's probably where what I'm doing over the next little while to, sort out our marketing issues. But um, yeah, it's just about, I think, having that consistency, um, some helpful stuff as well, teaching your potential clients about things with their vehicles that might be going on, making it relatable, funny where you can, as long as you're not being stupid, I guess. It's probably the tactics we've used. But yeah, for us, consistency is something we need to work on a bit more.
I enjoy your videos. Some of them make me laugh a lot. Some of them are really informative because as a baby rev head, there's still a lot for me to learn. And so there's always something really interesting going on your feed. I really enjoy them. And you're not afraid to get in front of the camera, which I think, or maybe you do feel it, but I can't see it. I think that's the real key to the success is being brave enough to put yourself out there because generally good stuff comes back.
Thankfully now there's Google Video, so I can just make some AI bot that looks like me, and yeah, I'll be right.
There's so much out there that's going to change the space, that's for sure. Tyson, I'm ever so proud of what you and Rachel have been able to achieve in a very small period of time. If anyone is listening today and they think, I want to have a chat with this fella, or I have a car that I need some help with and I live near Caloundra, how do they find you?
So, okay, if they have a car and live near Caloundra, give us a call and then we can help out that way. If you want to chat about something pertinent to business, whether you're another, fellow business owner that would just want some general advice, non-binding, you feel free to just send an email and I can get in touch one way or another. I wouldn't say I'm a business guru or anything like that. I think it's just, good to have a chat with people that have the same, goals and
Yeah.
and things that they want to achieve. So yeah, flick us an email or go to our website and you'll find our email there and we can have a chat.
Love it. I'll make sure all of that is in the show notes for you if you're listening. That way you can just scroll down wherever you're listening to this and you can reach out to Tyson. Tyson, thanks so much, firstly, for being so persistent, and secondly, for sharing so much goodness today. It's been wonderful to have you on the show.
No problems at all. Anytime. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Tradies in Business podcast with Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.